Hey everyone, it's Pam, and I'm here with my June update video, letting you know everything that I've been up to in the month of June. I'm recording this on July 2nd, so happy belated Canada Day to all of my fellow Canadians out there. I'm just enjoying my long weekend with a few ciders. This is No Boats on Sunday, which is my favorite cider at the moment. No one's paying me to say that, although they probably should because I talk about them a lot, but it's quite delicious. So as for podcasts, the only podcast that I've been on this month was my own podcast, Media Mavens. Both episodes were just Riley and myself talking about what we've been up to and taking listener questions. We got a lot of great listener questions. We discussed things like Master of None Season 2. Riley talked about her experience at KCON, which is K-Pop Con, in New York City, which she won tickets to. I recounted my tale of my climb to Diamond in Overwatch. It's the first time I've hit Diamond in competitive. So they were fun episodes to do, just the two of us, and if you haven't checked out Media Mavens, please do. So my shout out for this month is Caleb J. Ross, and I found Caleb because he is a new member of the Cartridge Club. Hopefully you know what that is because I've mentioned them a ton of times on this channel. He linked some of his videos there and I really enjoy them and I think more people should watch them. He has a very natural presence on camera. His reviews I'm pretty sure are scripted, but everything comes across really natural and it doesn't look like he's reading or memorizing. It looks like he's coming up with it off the top of his head. He frames his videos in some cool ways. He's got one series called Hey Future Caleb, where he talks to his future self and asks questions like, is E3 still relevant, or are old video games actually good? And he has a concise yet fairly thorough sort of discussion on those topics. And another series he does is called Post-Game Smoke Review. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And these are just really quick, usually 5 minutes or less reviews of a game that he has just finished. So he's filming pretty much immediately after he finishes the game, and he gives just, a quick review of the game. He's recently done Little Nightmares, and I think his most recent one was Psychonauts, which has actually encouraged me to move that one up the backlog, because it's one of those games that I've wanted to play forever, but just haven't gotten around to it. So, if you like game commentary and questions and short reviews, definitely check out Caleb J. Ross. Alright, now on to my pickups, and I have more pickups than normal this month. I got a number of things. The first thing, which I'm most excited about, is the Quest for Glory Anthology, the big box PC version. Not that there's a non-PC version, but I'm really happy to have this because this is the same one that I owned when I was a kid. I was originally introduced to Quest for Glory on a pirated disc which had Quest for Glory 4, and after playing that I was super interested in the series, so I found this and this is what I played to go through the rest of it. I do plan to review all the games in the series. I already put up my review for the first part. I hope you watch it. I know that my PC reviews are less viewed than the console games, which makes me sad because PC games are awesome too. Another thing I picked up to add to my limited strategy guide collection is the strategy guide to Star Ocean Second Story. This is one of my favorite JRPGs ever. I've actually sort of had a hankering to play it again, and there is a lot in that game, especially around the crafting. There's a lot of things that you wouldn't just know off the top of your head, so I'm hoping that this guide will come in handy and that I will actually use it rather than just put it on the shelf. I also got a couple games that I haven't played before but appeal to a certain weakness of mind, and that is Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 4, both FMV games. You know how I love my FMV, so I'm looking forward to trying these ones out. And I also got some newer releases. The first is the Crash Bandicoot Remaster on PS4. I've always been a big Crash fan. I played the first and second on PS1, although I don't think I ever played the third, so I'm looking forward to playing them again on a new console. And then the second thing is Titanfall 2. I never played the first Titanfall because I'm pretty sure it was mostly or all multiplayer, but I've heard nothing but good things about the Titanfall 2 campaign, so I also hope to play this soon. And now the games I've played, I actually played a ton of games in June. I'm probably not going to have time to talk about all of them, but some of the standouts are... Little Nightmares is a game that I played. This game, you play a little girl, assumedly a little girl, going through a bunch of sort of childhood nightmares, and it's sort of reminiscent in tone of Limbo and Inside, though I didn't find it as effective. There were certain moments that were very well done and very evocative, but overall, I found the game kind of outstayed its welcome, which is strange because it's only a couple hours long, but there was this one chapter, there are 5 chapters in total, that I didn't think added anything to the game, whereas 2 of the chapters were fantastic. So put all together, it comes out to just like an okay experience, but I'm still glad that I played it because it was, when it was good, it was very good. I also finished Nier Automata for the first time, so I got ending A. It's taken me a while to get through that. It was only probably 15 or 16 hours, but I was just playing it in little chunks. And I do really love the story, and I really love how they do the gameplay. I love how it goes from single-stick shooter to dual-stick shooter to hack-and-slash action game. I just don't know if I have the patience or the willpower to play it over and over again to get the full story. I hear that for ending B, the game is very, very similar to the first playthrough, so I think I might sort of put it aside and come back to it a little bit later. I played one really fantastic game called What Remains of Edith Finch, and this is a walking simulator, I guess you'd call it, and it's about a girl going back to her childhood home and discovering all its secrets. And her family, the Finch family, has always seen as being cursed because everyone has met an early and untimely death. So this game is basically about death and about the girl going home and finding out how all of her relatives died. And at first I was a little concerned that it would be like Dear Esther, which is actually a walking simulator. I didn't like it all. I found it boring. But this was very well done. Not only was the writing and voice acting great, but they also used different kinds of gameplay for every single story that you came across, which was really cool. One of the standout moments was when you're playing Edith's brother, I think, and he worked in a cannery. So you're playing as him, and he's like getting fish off a conveyor belt and chopping their heads off. But in the other side of his brain, he's like off on an adventure. So you're doing 2 things at once, and it was just very evocative and very, very well done. So if you like those kind of narrative-heavy exploration games, I definitely recommend What Remains of Edith Finch. I also pulled the trigger on a game that's been on my wish list for a while called Little Inferno, and it's a game where your UI is basically a fireplace called the Little Inferno, and you order toys and you burn them. It's basically about setting things on fire, but you don't just set things on fire willy-nilly, you get little puzzles. So there'll be like a little word puzzle, and you have to decide what items you need to burn together in order to solve that word puzzle. So it's really cool. One of the sort of chapters was all about indie games, and then there was just sort of like there's a food-based one, and there's also a little story going through it where your neighbor, who's also playing with a Little Inferno fireplace, is writing you letters to tell you what she's been up to. And overall, I just found the game extremely charming, and also I like setting things on fire. The Cartridge Club game of the month for June was Final Fantasy II or Final Fantasy IV, depending on when you played it and where you played it. This was my first pre-7 Final Fantasy. I'm not finished it yet. I'm maybe 2/3 of the way through. And it's really interesting to see kind of where the series started out. and what improvements were made to the game as time went on. Like, there's all sorts of quality of life things that have been done where I think I should be able to do it in this game, but I can't. Like, even simple things like a smart inventory sorting or a smart spell sorting. But I really like that you can have 5 people in combat. That's actually one of my favorite things about this game. Anytime you can have more than 3 is definitely a bonus in my book. And I also like how characters come and go, and you get new abilities and get to learn about new classes, so it always keeps things fresh. On the other hand, it means I don't really grow that attached to the characters. I find, other than a few of the main ones, they don't ever stick around too long or long enough for me to really get attached to them. So overall, I like Final Fantasy II, but I don't love it. I also started replaying Wolfenstein: The New Order after the fantastic trailer at E3 for the new Colossus. I decided I wanted to re-experience that game, and I'm so happy that I did because it's just so fantastic. Like, for an first-person shooter, it just has such a good story and so much heart to it, even though the gameplay mainly involves shooting, stabbing, and strangling Nazis. And the last game I played in June, for better or for worse, was Darkest Dungeon. They just came out with a DLC called The Crimson Court, so I went back to the game. And even though I've put it on the easiest mode possible, which really isn't very easy at all still, it's still just kicking my ass all over the place. Like, I really love the aesthetic of the game and all the things you need to be worried about while you're delving into dungeons, but it is just so unforgiving, and every time one of my high-level characters dies, I'm just so demoralized. So I really hoped that this time I would actually beat the game and be able to say, I finished it, I'm done, I can delete it and never play it again. But I don't know, I feel like it's gotten the best of me, and I don't know if I'm ever going to beat it. Alright, that's it for this month's update video. I need to get out of here and turn my air conditioning back on because it is so hot, and I don't know why I chose to film in a jacket, of all things. So thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comments if you played anything interesting or picked up anything recently in June. That's it. I'll see you next time.